Just all right. Okay, we're recording, we're rolling. Good evening, everyone. Baruch Hashem. Welcome to the Monday night Sipurey Maasios shir. We're still holding with the Maisa of the exchanged children. And B'ezrat Hashem, if we get to it, certain part of today's limud, if we get there, we'll touch the point of the Tzaddik, and it's a point that some people have misunderstanding what's the pshat tzaddik and so forth and so on. But anyhow, first of all, let me just share with you the text of the screen of the Sipurey Maasios. And we said that the real son of the king, the real prince, met the man of the horse, which we're going to find today, is the true son of the slave. They met themselves on a tree, and they made a pact they're going to stay together. Then came day, they separated. The real prince finds a sack with bread, and he finds the man of the forest. Then he is uniting with the man of the horse. That is the son of the slave, of the bondsmaid. And we said now when he sees the sack on his shoulder, he starts begging, my brother, it's already days I have not eaten, give me bread. And we mentioned this a little bit weird. Somebody who hasn't eaten for days and is begging for his life, before we didn't find he was in distress. They were on the tree. He told them he's not afraid of the laughter in the forest, the animals screaming at night. That's okay with him, no problem. He's running after his horses. He's chasing his horse. He's chasing his horse. That's not really the behavior of a person who's starving to death, is it? And then the real prince says, I'm sorry, here in the wilderness, nothing helps. My life takes priority. I need the bread for my sake. So he begins begging him and beseeching him. He says, I'll give you anything. He says, what can you give me in the forest? He says, I'll give you myself entirely. I will sell myself to you as a servant, as a slave, for the bread. And the prince, the real prince, says, something, to purchase a whole person is worth to give him bread. And he bought him as a permanent slave, and he swore to him oaths, whatever it is going to be a slave forever, even when they arrive to civilization. And he will give him bread until they'll finish it, until it runs out. So the last time when we were learning, we asked, things are sort of like, they don't fit, they don't make sense. If you need the bread for you, because your life comes first, why is it worth to buy a person for bread? What good will it do to you if the bread runs out and you die? What do you need a slave for? Why is it worthwhile? And we reiterated this kind of parish that this, the son of the slave represents the body, represents the ego, represents the person's story, his proclivities, his pluses, his minuses, his chesroinus, his milas. The son of the king represents the neshama. The bread represents the life force that Hashem is giving every person. And right now, in this world, we're in the wilderness. We're in the wilderness, and we are on borrowed time. So when the body and the ego says, you know, give me some bread, give me some, haven't eaten, he means give me some chayas, give me some excitement, give me some, you know, I need it too, I'm hungry. People need, you know, to be excited. It's a need as real as hunger, as eating or drinking. There's a need for that. As we learned in Torah 13, that the Sitra Achra has to be given a certain amount, kedei chiyumin. And the idea is because the Yetzer Hara is fulfilling a role. Yetzer Hara has a role to play. By confronting the Yetzer Hara, by working on it, this delicate, you know, give and take that happens with the Yetzer Hara. Because the Yetzer Hara is not just working on you on single phase, you know, just go ahead and do bad. You know, so kind of, you know, sometimes Yetzer Hara, you know, attacks you and, you know, through your self-esteem, telling you how bad you are, how awful everything is, how awful you are and how hopeless your situation is. But the Yetzer Hara is there to serve you. That's why he says, you know, something to purchase a man, it's worth to give him bread. In other words, who you are, what you are not, the things you like about yourself, the things you don't like about yourself. These are all tools that you got from the Kodesh Baruch Hu in order to reach the goal, your goal in this world. You can sit there and bemoan, you know, why am I not this? Why am I not that? Why am I not as talented as this one, or good looking as this one, or clever as this one, or smart as this one, or as you know, able to concentrate and whatever it is, this one, and so forth and so on. You know, you're giving too much bread to the slave. In fact, you are mixed up with him. You don't understand who's boss. So first of all, the first realization that who you are is who you need to be to fulfill a role in the world is represented by the fact that they meet on the tree and they make a bond. They will stay forever. But in order for the real prince to find the sack of bread, he has to separate from the incidental, as it were. Because once you realize that everything that typifies you, everything that you went through, everything that until now you thought this is you, now you're able to see, no, that's just the tool that the Kodesh Baruch Hu gave me. And we said the way you get it, the way you get to it is when you give thanks to Kodesh Baruch Hu. This creates perspective. When you thank the Kodesh Baruch Hu for being who you are, warts and all, you are able to get a perspective that it's not who you are. It is just a vessel that you were put into in order to work. This comes to a culmination when he buys him for a slave. In other words, the body now also agrees that it's a slave. And both of them went together and followed the man in the forest. And the slave walked behind him. In other words, that's the true son of the slave. And he said, in the meantime, now it became a little bit easier for him, for the prince, since he had a servant already. And this is the key sentence. When he needed to lift up some object or do something else, he ordered his stuff to lift it or do something. We've mentioned that the first, he didn't realize that this was part of it, but we said that when the real prince went into the forest and he doesn't see his friends anymore, he comes to a conclusion, if I keep on going, the animals are going to eat me up alive. If I go back to my boss, the merchant, he's going to kill me. It was damned if I do, damned if I don't. And Rabbeinu says over there, openly, that it was an imagination. Because he was a scaredy cat. Had it been a normal person, quote unquote, he would realize, with a person you can negotiate. You can negotiate with animals, with wolves, with bears. The nakuda over here is that being that it's a 50-50 proposition in his mind because of his deficiency, because he's paranoid, he's able to make the choice to continue to go ahead. We said the reason why that was the right decision, because as opposed to going back, which is coming back with excuses, he chooses to go again and do his duty. You're willing to go ahead and do your duty? You're taking a risk. Coming back with excuses is a lot easier. Going ahead means that you're taking a chance that you're going to fail. It's one of the reasons that we don't scream. We don't scream to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We don't scream because we say to ourselves, Kol ma David Rachmon al Tavo David, which is obviously the truth. We say to ourselves, Kol HaDochek is Asho Dochaktoi. Anybody who pushes his time, it doesn't bid his time, is being pushed. Shem Yirachem. We give ourselves all these from terutzim, all these from excuses. The fact of the matter is that we're simply scared that we're going to be ignored. We're going to be ignored. I'm going to scream to Kodesh Baruch Hu. It means I'm putting all my cards on the table. I'm pushing the tokens all the way to the middle of the table. It's just I'm taking a full risk. And it's not that somebody will tell me no. It's not that somebody will hit me, or somebody will get upset at me, whatever it is. I'll just be ignored. There really is no greater brutality than ignoring someone. Hating somebody is chas v'chalila is very, very bad. Saying hurtful words, chas v'chalila, is a very deraisa, so must learn. Being ignored is harder than all of them put together. Screaming to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not screaming at him, chas v'chalila, and not saying, I deserve it, I don't deserve it. You're not getting into it altogether. You're not giving HaKadosh Baruch Hu any conditions, give it to me or else. Nothing of the sort. You're just screaming. You're literally throwing a tantrum like a kid is doing to a parent. That does not necessarily mean that he's going to get it, but that's okay. Risking that my mother or my father will not give me what I'm stamping my feet and laying on the ground and stamping and throwing a tantrum for, it's okay. It's part of the trust that the child has in his parents. I can throw a tantrum. I can scream. And my parent will do whatever it is that, whatever the right thing is. Because the point is, you'd be amazed, but the great majority of the things you daven for, you get. Kodesh Baruch Hu is like a parent who loves, he is a parent who loves you. And when you come to him, anything and everything is, as they say in Russian, может быть. Is a qualified yes. In other words, you're my son, I want to give you. But, it's qualified. If it's not good for you, for whatever reason, whatever it is, you're not going to get it. But I, because of my story, because of my childhood, because of the way that my childhood went, in other words, because of who my horseman is, who the slave is, I get the impression that it's not that I don't deserve. Nobody deserves. Everything is matnas chinu, is a free gift. I get the conviction that I deserve and know. It's different, they don't deserve. Don't deserve, say, but we love you, we'll give you. Deserve and know means, that's a whole different ball game. So we don't scream. We sort of like surround Kodesh Baruch Hu with this really polite tefillas that circumvent around the truth, around the Nakuda, without touching anything. Because we're afraid of being hurt, of being ignored. That's the slave. The slave is there in order for you to deal with your urges, to deal with your physicality, to deal with your fears, to deal with your whatever it is that you have to deal with. But he's not there for you to feed him bonbons. And he's not there to tell you that he is the king. And this is what is actually happening. They followed together behind the men of the forest and came to a place where there were snakes and scorpions. This is all the Tivus. And he, in other words, the real prince, grew terrified. And because of his fear, he asked him, how will he get past here? How can it possibly get over all my Tivus? And he answered Elamai, that's a wonder. How he went there in my house. And he showed him his house standing in the air. And they went with him, and he brought him over in peace and brought him into his house and gave him things to eat and drink and went away. They're going into the house of the Tzaddik. The house is in the air. Now the slave starts to have regrets. And he, the prince, ordered his slave around to do whatever he needed. It upset the slave very much that he sold himself for the sake of a single hour when he needed bread to eat. I mean, that is the ultimate lament of the Yetzer. For a single hour of enjoyment, for a single hour of excitement, for a single whatever, I sold myself for life. Because now they already have what to eat for the same a single hour. Now it's going to be a eternal slave. And then a big sigh. It says, and groaned, whatever come to that I should be a slave. So the true son of the king asked him, what kind of grades did you have? That you were making such a sigh? He says, I used to be a king. He told him he was a king, about exchanging, and how he drove his friend away. And one time it came to his mind, why did he do it? He started regretting. Regrets coming to him constantly for the evil deed that he did. And then it came to him, that his tikkun is just to throw everything away. And he went away, he threw away his kingship and he went, and now he has become a slave. This is a very interesting nakuda here. And I would like to stop the text for a minute and get here to the nakuda of meeting the tzaddik. When the slave becomes a slave, when you have already come to a realization, this is who I am, the neshama, I'm the boss, and you are the slave. You are the thing that makes things possible for me, things easier for me. Lift this up, bring this around. They get to the tzaddik's house. If the first thing that happens, they meet snakes and scorpions. When the body and the neshama meet together, the first thing, in other words, as in they become one and with a purpose of avodas Hashem, the first thing that happens, you feel, okay, now, things are all right. Now I will for sure get, some medals for setting things in the proper order. Lo and behold, what happens? You start finding snakes and scorpions. You start finding tigers of such magnitude that you say, there's no way that I can overcome that. And you tell the tzaddik, this is no possible. How could I possibly overcome that? So the tzaddik says, that's a wonderment for you. How will you come to my house? And he shows him that his house is suspended in midair. And he brings him there. They're entering a realm which has nothing to do with physicality anymore. First of all, they find the tigers, they find the snakes, they find the scorpions. And so it says, that's a problem. How do you get to my house? Suspended in mid-air. This is the Midas Hayesod. That's a Malach Matat. And he brings him there. What happens? The body comes up again. The story comes up again. Just for a little bit of this, again, I was a king. The thing that goes on here is that once you have made a step up, once you already know who is the king and who is the slave, who is the master, who is the slave, what's the proper order, and you feel, okay, that's it, finished. Finished, the end. No, things just start. Time is all over again. Now the body is starting to say, I was the king. In other words, the avodah that you have to do is non-stop. The fact that you realize who you are and who your body is does not solve all the problems, because the problems keep on coming on. It's a tikkun after tikkun after tikkun. Even when they are already in Tzaddik's house. And I would like to take a little detour right now to touch upon the Nakuda of the Tzaddik for many reasons. First of all, now because they are in the house of the Tzaddik, and because we are in the 3 weeks, and the Rabbeinu says, that the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash is the lamentation of the Istalkos of the Tzaddik. So, what is a Tzaddik? So, allow me to share another screen with you of Torah Lamed Daled, Likutei Moharan. And it says as follows: Shom Rabbeinu Shalom V'Rocha, V'atem tiyu l'mamleches kahanim v'gol kodesh. You will be for me a nation of priests and a holy nation. Ela dvarim shedaber b'nei Yisrael. These are the things that you will speak to Bnei Yisrael. So the first thing, this is basically the entire Torah in the nutshell. Ksiv cherpa shaver libi, shame has broken my heart. It is shame and degradation that break a person's heart. And the tikkun is that he is connecting, as a mekasha libo, he's connecting his heart, la nekuda shleich libo beisazois, the nekuda that has to do, that is pertinent to your heart at this particular point in time. The important nakuda about this, what this thing is saying, is that this tikkun is a constant. In other words, you always find another shvira, another shattering another cherpa, another bizoyan, and you have to affect a tikkun to connect your heart to nekuda, to the shach to your heart in that particular time. Arizal explains that the shattering took place only in the Kalim. The light is always 100% fine, it's no problem. From the very beginning, the problem was only the Kalim. They didn't want, what do you mean, to be separated into three lines? And everybody wanted to be number one. So this is why the breakage happens. The breakage happens only in the heart. The nekuda is the nekuda of the tzaddik. This is the tikkun. When you connect the cherpa to the nekuda, to the tzaddik, that's why the house is hovering in midair. And we'll understand a little bit more as we're going through this. This is the principle. Fact number one is that the tzaddik is ruling. He can do whatever it is he wants to do. This nekuda is hardly touched throughout Torah Lamadalah. The tzaddik comes here as, an all-powerful magician. He can do anything. He can affect anything. As Chazal said, tzaddik moishel. What is the continuation of this tzaddik moishel beyiras elokim? It's important to remember the end of the pasuk because of what's going on here. Mi moishel be says the Gemara. Tzaddik is the one who is moishel. V'zeh b'chinas v'Yosef hu hashalit. Yosef is the ruler. V'shoresh klolius nishmas Yisrael, and he's the root of the overall reality of nishmas Yisrael. V'hem ha'anofim shel, and they are all his branches. One aspect of the tzaddik is structural. The tzaddik is the shoresh, he's the root, he's the tree, and everybody else is his branches. And he continues, Ve'ikav Hamshala, and the main dominion is what? Leha'ir v'yisor liban avos Hashem Yisbarach, to illuminate and to excite and to get up the heart of all the people to avoid Hashem Yisbarach. K'mo shekosu Shema Hashem kol Yehuda v'lamot v'yenu. He says, "Hainu le'ahir oros tzaddik," to illuminate the illumination of the tzaddik in the branches. Hainu b'lev Yisrael. There's a elamot v'yenu. Elamot v'yenu is bringing to his people, bringing to his branches. A couple of things to notice over here. First of all, the tzaddik here is mentioned using two different tzaddikim. First of all, using Yosef, and secondly, using Yehuda. When it's mentioned Yosef, we're talking about the structural reality. The tzaddik is the source for everything. He's the source of life. He's a shorish klolis nishmas Yisrael. It's not that he's bigger than somebody else. Bigger or smaller is only an attribute of the branches. It's only one branch bigger than the other. This one is at the top, this one on the bottom. The root, the tree itself, has nothing to do with being greater or smaller. He's the source for everything. And when this fact is unrecognized, the branches get confused. Yosef is growing up with his brothers, by his father. His father understands. Yosef is a tzaddik. But the brothers don't understand that. I mean, we're all branches. And lo and behold, this one is saying he's dreaming what bound down to him, and this to him, and the son is not bound to him. Everybody's bound down to him. Who the heck does he think he is? And that brings about, being that they don't know who he is, it brings about to selling him, and he's falling down. He's falling and falling and falling. They're falling into a hole in the ground. They're selling him to the Arabs are selling it to Potiphar. He almost falls in tremendous affairs. And Baruch Hashem, he said, and then he's going to jail, and he gets 12 years in the slammer. This is the background of the pasuk, V'Yosef hu shalit. Yosef is the one who ruled. It seems like the Torah is saying, okay, look at him. He's the one that everybody threw him away, says, you're superfluous. We don't need you. Just throw him to the board, kill him. No, don't kill him. Let's throw him into a hole in the ground, or sell him to the Arabs. Just get rid of him. He's like, we don't need him here. What happens? The Shekhinah leaves Yaakov Avinu. Hunger comes to the world. Nothing works. Yehuda gets lost. The tikkun is when they come to Yosef, and they bow down to him. The Zohar says in Parshas Miketz, the Zohar says that the brothers said, "11 achim, nachnu bnei ish echad." We're 11 brothers. Nachnu bnei ish echad. We are the sons of one person. But they don't say the word anachnu, we are. But they say nachnu, the aleph is omitted. But later on, when they're standing before Yosef and he blames them that they're spies, and they said, Shnemasar achim anachnu, 12 brothers we are. Anachnu with an aleph. How come here they say nachnu and here they say anachnu? So the Zohar says because the aleph represents the zachar, represents the male. This is the tzaddik. The shvatim are b'chinas female. They're the branches. They receive. So when they say 11 achim, nachnu kulano, bnei ish echad. We are all female. They didn't realize, but when they were standing in front of Yosef, they say, Shnemasar achim anachnu. Now they're including Yosef without realizing. Now they're saying anachnu. Because we're bowing down that Yosef is a shalit. It's no longer a question. It's no longer who's bigger. It's no longer a question who's first. It's not even a question who's bigger and who's smaller. They're bowing down to reality. The tzaddik is the shorish klal Israel, but it's for a reason. The reason is this memshala, this rulership, is not because you want to become a prime minister, which is dominion that has no reason. The memshala of the tzaddik is not that he's boss, and you are number two, and you better remember that. Not, shalom b'kedusha, not in kedusha. The only way that Breslov can continue to exist for all this time is because the dominion of the tzaddik is lehair velis'er libam lavodas Hashem yisbarach. Otherwise, if it's only about, listen, I'm the Rebbe and you're the Hasidim, let's just get one thing straight. The minute the tzaddik is not there, it ain't happening anymore. It does not last. This in on itself is a very, very deep nakuda. The nakuda is that the tzaddik exists to set to enlighten your heart, to put you on, to tell it your choshev, and to bring you into avodas Hashem. That's the reason Arizalek says that, when the shattering the vessels took place, so the shards of the vessel fell into the bria, and the light, which everything was okay with the light, it retracted, and now it resides in the tzaddik, in the yesod of Atzilus. So Arizal explains why dafka the yesod of Atzilus. He says, because the tzaddik has to be in constant contact with his people. Leharis is libam. The yesod of Atzilus is 3 spheres above the heart, the bina of Bria. We have a rule that 3 tfachim is lavud, is connected. It cannot be more than 3 tfachim, 3 spheres above the bina, above the heart. Because the tzaddik is enslaved almost. He's tied to the heart, to you, to me. His dominion is not to make him a big shot. Rabbeinu says, he had this idea what he actually wanted, to take my wife, take my children, go somewhere, just do my avodas Hashem alone, nobody would know of me, whatever it is. But because that's not what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted. Because the tzaddik has to go down to the people. Ve'elamot vienu. The B'chinas Yehuda. The in of Yosef is the structure. The tzaddik is the root of your neshama. It's not a physical thing, but it's a structural, absolute structural reality. There's nothing you can do about it. If you don't take care of it properly, you get lost, you get hunger, nothing goes the way it should. When you're giving the Enoch Yehuda, you're talking about Ve'el Amot Vieno. The tzaddik is supposed to come down to you. When Am Yisrael is in trouble, they make the Egel Azar. Kadosh Baruch Hu says, Lech red kishiches amcha. Go down because your people, they did the hanky-panky, they went high wire. So the tzaddik is always with you. So mi moshel bi tzaddik. And it says, tzaddik moshel b'yiras Elokim. The job of the tzaddik is to shine the yiras Elokim in you. It says, mi moshel bi. Who is ruling me? Who is my boss? Who is the one who rules upon me? Who has dominion over me? The tzaddik. Because his job is to illuminate the yiras Elokim in my heart. That's his job. Ad kedei kach that when a person, there's always the tzaddik, that the upper bechina is always tied to the broken one, to the one that is to the poor one, to such an extent that when a person leaves this world and his body is being put in the grave, there is the lowest bechina of the nefesh, the garmi kisa, the chayus that remains on the grave forever. It has to be that way. Because the tzaddik is all the time connected to those who are broken. The yesod is never more than 3 spheres away, lavud, to the heart, to the bina. So even though the tzaddik already took him to his house and gave him to eat, that means you understand why you are in this world for. You have what to eat. The only reason why you have to work is in order, to be mevar birurim. Kadosh Baruch Hu feeds you. Yosef was shalit. Mashbil Cholam Haaretz is the one who feeds Olam Haaretz. Begashmis veberuchnis. Not only spiritual, but also physically. You got all the ashpos through the Yesod, through the Tzaddik. As Rabbeinu said, when his famous mashal, when a person is working, he says that a poor man came into town, whatever it is. He came to Yeshuv and he was very hungry, so he goes to one of the houses and he asks for food. So in this place, there were 2 rich people. One of them was very, was very stingy. The other one was very open, machnis orchim and everything. And lock-headed, he went to the stingy one. And the senior says, no problem. You see, I have this pile of wood in my yard. Just go ahead and split these wood, make him, put them all in a nice pile, whatever it is, so I have them for the winter. And by the time you're done, you'll get a big suda to eat. Don't worry about it. So he splits all the wood and he works and everything else. And when he's done, he says, now I'm hungry. Now I want to eat. He says, no problem. You see this door over there? Just go ahead there and say that you're hungry. So he goes there and he knocks on the door and says, hungry. He says, no problem. Sit down and eat. They give him food. So when he's done, he's like, oh man, I don't remember ever eating a more well-deserved suda like this one. And the people over there says, come again? It so happens that the stingy merchant sent him to the other rich man's house. So I tell him, I went to this place and I worked hard. I chopped all this wood and now I'm getting the food for it. So they tell him, and this is a cardinal sentence that Rabbeinu explained. He said, they tell him, you worked for nothing and you're eating for nothing. The food and the work have nothing to do with one another. When you are connected to tzaddik, when you have such emunah, and you're going to, that's being in the house of the tzaddik. You already realize that. You're eating for nothing. The body comes out. I used to be a king. I used to be this. I used to be that. You find yourself that you're falling in the same type as that you were into before. So it's very, very easy to tell myself, I haven't accomplished anything. Look, I don't know. I watched videos before. I'm watching videos now. After this whole period of doing and working and doing Gavaldic thing, and now I'm just back to square one. Well, maybe not back to square one, but pretty close to square one. It's not the same. You still have to give tikkunim. You still have to affect tikkunim. But it's a different reality now. Now you're in the house of the tzaddik. You realize, that's my slave. My bad traits, my good traits, whatever it is, this is all part of my slave. Part of the conditions of the tikkunim that my neshama has to affect in the world. This Gilgul. It's fine. Adas bilbulim, okay. So you deal with the bilbulim as they come. We said it quite a few times. It's almost like a video game. You know? You go and the monsters, and you go and you this, and you avoid one monster, and you're eating the cherries, you're getting points, you're getting life, you're jumping up and down, whatever it is, you get a sword, you get a this, you get a that, you finish this monster, whatever, the monster got you, when you finish the screen, you got a new screen. Every day you're getting new screens. As much as you are into Avodas Hashem, this is how fast your screens are changing. If you're basically just rolling along, so okay, so you get a new screen every month, every year, every few years. If you're into Avodas Hashem, you can get a few screens in one day. I started, I already did it. Again, and I can't believe it. I'm telling you, I'm absolutely no good. I'm just like, man, under the term failure is my picture in Wikipedia. You just got a new screen. That's it. And the tzaddik is with you right then and there as you start over and over and over again. And it seems to you that you haven't done anything. Because this is this world. This is not Olam Haba where you see what you have done. It's very much akin to a sink full of dishes. Anybody who knows the experience, you know, you're in front of a sink full of dishes, and they never end. You know what I'm saying? You're washing the dishes, and there's another one, and there's another one, and there's another one, and there's one, and there's another one, and there's another one. And the only thing that you need to keep in mind if you want to finish the dishes is not to expect to finish the dishes, because you're going to go batty. The only thing is that I'm going to keep on doing one by one by one by one. Suddenly, boom, the sink is empty. We are washing dishes in this world. Every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year. Another tikkun, a new screen, a new screen, a new screen. And you take one step ahead, you take two steps back. The main thing is, as you'll see here, the prince doesn't say anything. He says, okay, now we'll know how to behave with him. Doesn't tell him, doesn't tell him who he really is. He just understands how he needs to handle it. The first thing, don't freak out. I can't believe I did that. I did a thing like that. I thought thoughts like that. I had dreams like that. What's going on? First of all, it all happened to you. Simply Kadosh Baruch Hu is letting you know, just a reminder, this is who you are, who you really are. Everything that you think that you are accomplished, Baruch Hashem, it's very nice, everything is good. Mishala b'yad tzaddik la'asot pe'ulos kirtzonai. Mi moshel bi, who has really had the dominion? The tzaddik. So, if you fell, it's not in the world. You start again. You only fall when you think that, man, I should be beyond that already. That's been, it's me? Are you kidding me? Can't believe this. Can't believe this. Oh, you can't believe this? All right. You'll get to see who you really are. But if you take it in stride and you realize, okay, that's the Nakoda, you go to Kodesh Baruch Hu and you scream. It doesn't mean you should take it, an even keel. It doesn't matter. It does matter. It does. When I'm doing something I'm not supposed to be doing, it's wrong. And excuse the pun, there's hell to pay. So you go to Kodesh Baruch Hu and you scream about it. And guess what? You scream about it and it helps for a day or two. And then you go back. I can't believe it. I thought I screamed. You scream and you get it, you get it solved. No. You have to keep on doing it. You have a slave, you have to take care of him, you have to feed him, you have to control him, you have to know how to handle him on a day-to-day basis, because it doesn't stop. And every day it doesn't stop. You're going higher and higher and closer to your dominion, to your malchus, to where you need to be. At Kan, Sipurey Maasios for today. Emir Hashem, on Thursday, we have Likutei Moharan. And Motzei Shabbos, we're going to have Sichas Haran. And next Monday, Emir Hashem, we will have a shir as a preparation for Tisha B'Av, B'li Neder. So